with whom he had 5 children. Sadly, Elizabeth passed away. William remarried Ellen Victoria Cheek in 1880. Ellen herself was a widow and had 3 children from her previous marriage. William and Ellen had 6 more children together, expanding the blended family to 14 children. One of those children was Sonora Smart Dodd, who was born in Sebastian County, Arkansas. In 1887, the family relocated to Washington State, and sadly, Ellen, the mother, died while giving birth to their 6th child. Sonora and her other 5 siblings were still at home and were then raised by her twice widowed father, who never remarried. While hearing a church sermon about the newly created Mother's Day, Sonora felt that outstanding fathers like hers should have recognition as well. Sonora proposed the idea for Father's Day in 1910. It did not get national recognition until 62 years later by President Richard Nixon. So the man that wrote this, he starts talking about his personal experience. He said, my personal experience is similar, but revolves around my stepfather, Bob Atterberg. My mom married my stepdad when I was in grade school, which proved to be a pivotal point in my life. I'm certain I would not be the same man without him. Not long after he and Mom married, I asked if it was okay to call him Dad, and he said, sure. Now, lest you think that Bob Atterberg was a soft, touchy-feely man, I also recall asking him if I could change my last name to Atterberg, so the other kids would think that he was my real dad. His answer, it costs $500 to change your name, and no name is worth $500. What people call you doesn't matter. All that matters is that you are a good person and people will respect you. Yep. He taught me life skills, values, and the importance of hard work. We had a sign on our refrigerator that simply stated, "Liars get the belt." He was true to his word, and we quickly learned that telling the truth yielded less severe consequences than being caught in a lie. He taught me the value of integrity. He always gave me ideas for ways to make money, like mowing lawns, cleaning garages, shoveling snow, paper routes, selling manure, picking fruits and vegetables, farm work, etc., and supported those ideas. By age 13, I was completely financially independent. Many of my dad's savings were passed down to me and on to the next generation. Here are a few of my favorites. Life isn't fair, get over it. Don't let it make you bitter, let it make you better. People will tell you anything to make you believe something, but if you want to know what they are really all about, just watch where they spend their time and their money, and you'll know the truth. Don't believe everything you hear. Use your own mind to critically evaluate things. However, I think the most lasting and important legacy that he left behind is this. He treated me like his own son and never once made me feel like I didn't belong. This is a gift that keeps on giving today. The statistics related to children who grow up without a father's influence in their life are staggering. Over 20 million children do not have a father in the home, and they comprise 85% of youth offenders in prison, 71% of high school dropouts, 90% of homeless or runaway children, 71% of adolescent patients in drug or alcohol treatment, and they are 4 times more likely to live in poverty. They don't have a William Smart or a Bob Atterberg to show them the way. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers and father figures out there. Don't forget the impact that you have, not only in your children's lives, but in the lives of their friends and classmates as well. A good father is an important part of the foundation from which a successful life can be built upon, and thus we salute foundational fathers.
Again, dads, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the legacy that you gave us and for everything that you did do for us. We love you very much. We're going to give the dads kind of the same treatments we did the moms. I know typically we're not quite as sentimental toward our dads, but you are still very important, and we want to honor some this morning. I think we'll save that one for along toward the end. How about let's start with our youngest dad here today. if you're 30 years old or younger, stand up for us if you're a dad this morning. Well, I think we're going to keep it in the family today, aren't we? All right, Jonathan, you and Ross want to tell how old you are? 26 for Jonathan. 21 for Ross. Ross, you come get your bag this morning.
They're going to take it.
Or they're going to bring it to you?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Next up, we have the newest father. So if you have a child that is 1 year old or younger, please stand. Years old or younger?
Yay, Ross! Oh, Dan?
Yeah. There we go. Let's give one to Dan. That's
I
right.
know it. Yeah. We'd have to tie a bag to his belt loop or something. How about this morning we'll honor the dad with the most children, and as with the moms, you claim what you want to. If you helped raise them and you want to call them yours, that's your business. So if you're a dad this morning and you got 3 or more children, you stand for us this morning. 3 or more. All right, how about 4 or more? You can tell some of them are counting in their head. 5 or more this morning. 6 or more? Kenny's still up.
How many you got, Kenny? 7.
That's right. Congratulations, Kenny.
Or our condolences.
Or our condolences. Do I, Bob? Yeah, how many you got? There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
So how about, do we have anybody that's traveled today? Do we have any visitors that have traveled?
I was looking around. I didn't see anybody that I thought had, but I think we're all from around here. Why don't you go ahead and do that one?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I know who's going to get this one, but do we have any dads who are 80 or older? Could you raise your hand? Dads who are 80 or older.
Yeah.
How about 90 or older? How old are you, Brother Charlie? If you're 99 or older, could you please raise your hand?
99 and a half. Yeah.
Hey, Sutton. We're also going to honor our second oldest father, Mr. Bob Spears. And last but not least, Brother Paul, thank you for all that you do for us. We love you.
believe Megan had a video for you to watch here.
I was thinking pigeon rock or ammo.
You've already let me know how uncomfortable you were in last week's meeting. So tonight, we're going to try to respect each other's boundaries. What? Tonight, we've also got a guest with us, David. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm David. How many kids do you have, David? None. At least not at the moment. My wife is pregnant, and she should be delivering any day now. That's great.
Super.
Great.
Who'd like to go first? Anyone. Anyone.
I'll go.
Perfect. Todd? Yes.
My daughter and I went to the mall, and she said she wanted to take the stairs to the second level. And I said, don't trust stairs, because they're always up to something.
Todd, I'm sorry that happened. I encourage you to try to resist the urge to make jokes bad.
My turn? Okay. Yesterday, actually, my daughter got home. She asked me how my day was. I said, well, I tried to sell you coffee, but that's the last thing I need.
David, how about you?
Oh, this is the safe.
Zone. Just jump on in.
I guess I'm just scared being a dad. I'm afraid I'm gonna start telling bad jokes just like my dad.
Well, it might be in our nature. We can fight against it.
Hey, speaking of nature, I tried to catch some fog yesterday. I missed. M-I-S-T.
You're a monster. This is where the boundary is.
I'm done.
This is where you are.
Hello? Really? Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, I'll be right there. That was Julie. Her water just broke. I guess the baby finally ran out. Boom. I'm being dad.
Don't you think you should go in?
Oh, yeah.
So I told my wife to move her eyebrows too high. She seemed surprised.
Sing that song, bro.
Well, if you couldn't hear it, that was a bad dad joke support group. We're going to do one more this morning in honor of our oldest dad who got to be here with us one morning. They said this is his favorite song, so y'all sing it out this morning. Ready? I'm kind of home, sick for a country to which I've never been before. No sad goodbye. letting us be in your house. Thank you so much, God, for what our dads have meant to us over the years, for the examples they were, Lord, and for what they taught us. Father, I pray that you'll just give them a good day today, a blessed day. Father, I pray you'll help us to remember that we are who we are because of what they taught us and what they did for us, Lord. I pray that you'll help us to remember, Lord, that we're here because you loved us as a heavenly Father and that you gave your Son to die for us. And we're so thankful that you did that. Thank you for the good report that we got from church camp and for the lives that were turned to you. God, I pray that you'll just grow them up, help them to be what you want them to be. Lord, I pray that you'll bless Brother Paul today, help him to preach your word. Forgive us where we fail you, Father. It's in Christ's name I pray.
Charlie said, "Thank you, Brother Clark. That's my favorite song." Yes. You know, it's a good song and takes us to a good place in our minds. It's good to be together with you today. I preached 8 times. Today will be 8 times in 8 days, and tonight will make 9. So I'm kind of tired. Oh, to be young again. Brother Joel's leaving this afternoon to go to another church camp to do music. Ain't no way I'm going to another church camp for a long, long time. Well, I know my time is a little short because of the things we do on Father's Day, but I wouldn't change it a bit, all right? So open your Bibles, if you will, to Ephesians chapter number 6. My lapel mic working okay, Brother Joel? All right. Can y'all hear me all right? Above all, I want you to hear me, because if you can hear me, maybe you won't go to sleep, or maybe you will. I don't know. I heard a story Adrian Rogers told this one time. I'm pretty sure it was Adrian Rogers, about a daddy who took his little toddlers to the zoo, and they were walking around looking at all the animals, and he was trying to educate them and explain to them what the animals were, and they came upon this enclosure that housed the big cats. And the little girl said, "What are they, Daddy?" And he said, "They're wildcats." And the little girl said, "Why are they wildcats?" And he said, "Because their mom and daddy are wildcats." That's a troubling fact, but there's some truth to it. Children do what their parents do. Do you want me to say that again? Children eventually do what their parents do. And someone said they may become more refined at it. So there's so many principles involved when it comes to raising children. And on Father's Day, I usually preach to the dads. However, this Father's Day, I'm not going to preach to you dads. I figured somebody'd shout out amen, because I got accused of always being so nice and kind to the mothers on Mother's Day, and then just really giving it to the dads on Father's Day. So you ought to appreciate this. Can I get at least a little amen? You people are tough today. I've been preaching to a bunch of young people, and they love God, and they don't mind to show it. Wonder what happened to us. I may change my sermon. Y'all keep being dry. When I say I'm going to preach to the children, I'm not talking to toddlers and infants. I'm talking to adolescents, teenagers, and young adults. I may be speaking to all of you, but this is going to apply primarily to that age group. In Exodus chapter number 20 and verse 12, and of course it's one of the 10 commandments, listen to what he says. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee. Ephesians chapter number 6 is the commentary on Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. And it's almost a direct quote. He said, "Children, listen, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest live long on the earth." When our children are little, it is our hope and desire that they will grow up and want to please us. We want to raise them right, and we also want to please them, and we hope that they reciprocate, that they give that back. But I'm telling you from experience, it doesn't always work that way, does it? So, watch this. For those of you here who fall into that category, to whom I am preaching today, if you have the desire to be a person who pleases your or our parents, then first of all, we need to follow God's command to honor our parents. And if you saw the title slide, the lead slide that was up there a moment ago, that's the title of my message today. How to honor your parents. How do we honor our parents? Well, I'll give you some things briefly. I don't have time to develop all of these. I've got 5 pages of notes. I'll preach about 2 of them. How about that, all right? Number 1, look at me. We honor our parents by obeying them when we are young. Look at me. Disobedience is a serious sin. I have watched young people sass their parents. I've watched young people throughout the years be disrespectful to their leaders, to their youth pastor, to their pastors, and it just irritated me to death. And given a different time period, I would have jerked some of them up by the seat of their pants and took my belt off and busted their backside. But you can't get by with that anymore. You got to be careful if they're yours when you do that. But I still believe spare the rod, spoil the child. Disobedience is not a weakness, it's wickedness. Rebellion, listen to me, rebellion toward your parents is an indicator of how your life is going to turn out. Do you hear me, young people? If you're rebellious to your parents, and I realize that there is a certain amount of rebellion in those teen years, but rebellion toward your parents as you grow up, when you know better, is an indicator of how your life is going to turn out. Billy Graham said this, "You show me a child who is stubborn and rebellious to their parents, and I will show you an adult who will not do well in life." I didn't say that. That's what Billy Graham said. We honor our parents by obeying them when we are young. I was more involved with the youth at camp this year, even though I was the camp evangelist, than normally I would be, because Joel was so busy and Becky was so busy in the kitchen, and our other sponsors were busy doing jobs. Our group ended up being over the canteen because the camp wasn't going to open it. So we were busy, and I interacted with a lot more students than I typically do. And you know me, I love kids. If I could take a group of kids and start a church with them, I'd love to do it. You want to know one of the reasons why? Because they have more enthusiasm for God than we do. Most of us been saved so long, we're just kind of, oh yeah, I got saved back in 1964, and it's all good. But it's not as joyful to us as it is to them. And I wish we were more that way. But you can't start a church with young people because they don't have any money, and it takes money to run a church. Just facts. Just facts, all right? Let's move to point number 2. How do you honor your parents? By caring for them when they are old. We remember that our parents loved us, took care of us, tended to our needs, loved us through our faults, in spite of our faults, in spite of our sicknesses, in spite of our weaknesses. And as we watch our parents grow older, those tables begin to turn. I want to tell you personally, the hardest decision I ever had to make in my life was putting my dad in a long-term care facility in a nursing home. Something that I said to myself, I will never, ever do that. And we were blessed because Mom didn't have to go in one, and it was because of Dad and others in the family, my sister and I, and we helped take care of her. But when we got to Dad's dementia had got so bad, and we put him in a psychiatric hospital so they could diagnose him and tell us what our future could be with him. And when they got through testing him, they said he has a 13-second retention rate in what you tell him. Broke my heart. Hardest thing I ever did. I spent a lot of sleepless nights dealing with that after he was admitted. And I know some of you are dealing with those same decisions as we speak and have dealt with them recently. Our culture has changed a lot. Back when I was a little boy, I had a great-grandfather, and I don't remember much about him. I remember one story about my great-grandpa Young, all right? And if you ever pass my office in there, stop by sometime, and there are two pictures on the wall that my dad collected, and one of them, the title of it is Young Guns, and it was my great-grandfather and his posse, all of his people that he ran with, and they all got six-shooters strapped on their side, and they knew how to use them, all right? Anyway, the other is a picture of my great-grandfather. It skipped a generation, my dad and me, and we were all about the same age. And you won't have any trouble identifying us because we all three look just alike, all right? But my great-grandfather, he would stay with us for a while. He would stay with my dad's brother for a while. He would stay with my grandma and grandpa Young for a while. And we just moved him from place to place, taking care of him. The only memory I have of him is he got up one morning, he wore old loose khaki pants and pulled them up to about right here. Y'all remember those days? All right? And he had suspenders. And I don't know if his suspenders were loose, but he was walking through the living room, the little house we rented in Pampa, Texas, toward the table. Mom had cooked him breakfast. And his suspenders came down, and his breeches fell all the way to his ankles. I'm glad he had on underwear, all right? But we took care of our older ones back in those days. But our economy and times have changed. Moms work outside the home. They almost have to work outside the home. And it's changed. So if you're dealing with that and that time comes and it's necessary, I don't want you to beat yourself up.